All right, what is up? Here we go. We got another episode of the patio roof build, and this is a big one. Guys, the last video we did the posts, show you how to do that, how to make sure that you got everything level. Now, we're gonna do the beams. We're gonna do this whole front beam. We're gonna start, we're gonna start with these side beams here. So these beams as they go across on both sides. Once that's done, we're gonna go through setting this beam, and then the jack here that goes up, and then ultimately the beam that goes to the middle. So let me turn it around here. And we got the beam under here. As we go all the way, let me get it into focus. This beam right here that goes all the way through. It's called the ridge beam into the house. It sits on supports that go from right underneath of it all the way down through and then sit on the foundation here. So we're going to go through that whole process, getting these guys up, all of the beams, showing you how to do that. Very, very helpful tool with these big beams. Is we rented a material lift. You're going to see in the video. You might actually seen the little snapshot of that right before this intro here. And I don't know another way that would have been easier than to rent those two material lifts. So they're called. I believe they were, man, I want to say it was roughly 70, 80 bucks per material lift. And invaluable in the ease and time that it took, and the sheer just strength that would have taken to figure out what to do to get these in place. Made it super simple, highly recommended. So with that, we're gonna kick it off. Let's get the side beams in, and then we'll work on these big boys here. All right, guys, appreciate it. Enjoy. All right, so if you see what we did there, that is a 6 by, what is that, a 6 by 12? 6 by 10 beam, 12 foot long. And use a stair step, essentially putting 2x4s here, here, and here. Same thing over here, right? 2x4, 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 and then bringing it up, resting it, going to the other side, bringing it up, resting it, and then ultimately getting it up into the spot on top of the beam. All right, guys, there we go. Check it out. Boom. We got all the beams up. All of these plumb. This one we had to ratchet strap together to move this one in a little bit. This one we had pretty good, and then we connected all this together so that it held, and then ratcheted it to that so that we could push this in just a little bit. But here's the bracket up to the house. That one over here, same deal. Connected it up. We also had to, before we set this glass beam there, just figure out where we were here, in or out, and where we were here, in or out. Because once you have these bolts in, you're setting where the bracket is, and you're ultimately then setting where we need to lay the, in this case, the 6x12 glue lamb in to that section, into that section. Now you have a little bit of play with these are just a touch wider, but you got a little bit of play in what you can do. So we were able to sync it up by measuring first from the foundation out to here, and then from the top, from the siding, from a flat piece of siding that goes all the way across. In this place, it's the, in case the T111, the vertical wood siding there. From there all the way to the top, and then get measurements from all sides to figure out where we were there, and then we're able to calculate exactly where we needed this thing. So we got it set in. Now most of these, so I showed you how I did this one by myself. That really can only be done by one person safely if the beam is at least, I'd say, 6 inches to a foot longer than the span that you're going up. Reason being, or you could use more stair steps, but when the beam goes from flat where it's at to up, right, you're taking more wood away from what the beam is sitting on, and then you bring it up, right, and then that's flat, and then kind of up again, same deal. If you don't have enough, you run the risk of the beam falling off the 2x4 support that we had going up here. So this one I was able to do myself, and honestly it wasn't that bad at all, getting it up on my own. But these guys, I had my contractor help me get it put up and get it put into place. But there we go. There's the outside beams and posts for the rooftop. Now, to reiterate again how we're going to do this, goes in, this side is going to follow up the ridge till about right here, and then it's going to come down and go over this. So this little bit is going to stay, this little bit right here, and the roof is going to come down parallel to it right through here. Obviously a lot more to do, but this is making great progress. The next step is going to be measuring up where the top beam is going to go, cutting it out all the way down to the foundation, and then reinforcing it all the way up with 2x4s, more than likely probably 4 to 5 2x4s from the foundation all the way up to the top. And then there's a special bracket that we have for that piece there. I might actually push the top beam in to the house and have it rest on top of the 2x4s that we put in there to reinforce, rather than just raising it up and putting it on the face of the 2x4s like we've done in this corner here and that corner there. But that is another day in the books with the rooftop build. All right, our next step, we're going to be putting these big beams up. We got these material lifts here, rented from United Rentals. I'm sure you can check your local area for a lift. We'll show you how these work. But essentially we got two of them because it's 24 feet long, and I don't want to put one just on this and worry about messing with it falling off one way or the other. This gives us the ability to lift both sides up evenly and place them here and here. I'm currently cutting the beam, because it's a 24-foot long beam, but they do make them a little bit longer, just so you have room to cut it exactly how you need it. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna cut the beam, and then we're gonna get the beam moved, which is gonna be great fun. And then we'll get these things into position, get the beam on these, and start lifting it up into place. All right, now that we got that cut, as you see here, we're gonna need to take a Sawzall or a reciprocating saw. Any or most home DIY kind of setups you're gonna have with a skill saw is not going to cut through a full 5.5 inch. As you can see here, we're about, it's about an inch between those. So we're gonna take our reciprocating saw and we're just gonna go down that and finish it off. And there we have it. Boom. Cut. We're pretty darn close there. You could sand that down if it bothers you. These will show on the outside of the hangers of how we orientated them. So I'll probably do that at a later point. But there we go. One beam ready. Now with these, real quick tip, if you've never used a glue lamp before, a lot of them, or most of them, will be engineered with the crown on one side. So it's going to be labeled where the top of the beam is. Now why is that important? Is because if you think of how wood is structurally laid out, flat, right? Or as flat as I can make it look with my hand. It's going to have an equal load. If it sags in, you're going to be putting a lot of stress on both ends. But if it's on a crown, you're putting some of that stress back down, and the wood itself is supporting and kind of pushing back against the post that's going to go up toward the perpendicular beam. So there we go. All right, and then we just crank them up.
Automatically hold, will it?
Yeah, it does. So there's a locking mechanism, and the only way that it unlocks is if you take it and pull it back yourself. But it will not spool down.